Welcome to Realmspace. Realmspace is the term used to describe the Taurelian system and its surrounding environs within the prime material plane. To those on the surface of Toril, Realmspace is typically called the Sea of Night. Realmspace consists of an empty vacuum of wild space, the Sun, 8 planets and their satellites, a variety of comets, asteroids, and other astronomical bodies. Wild space of Realmspace is unusually warm compared to the others. This has led sages to speculate that the Sun and Realmspace itself were among some of the oldest wild space systems. The system is inhabited by many species and races. Some are native to Realmspace, many more traveled here from other systems or planes of existence. The largest body in Realmspace is the Sun. It's located at its center, and it radiates a comfortable amount of warmth throughout the entire system. It is particularly susceptible to solar flares, which erupt almost continually from the surface. The Sun is inhabited by many creatures originally native to the elemental plane of fire. All spelljammer should take note that there are 12 spherical, dead magic zones that orbit the Sun closer than any planet in the system. Now, on to the planets. The planet closest to the Sun is Andaya. It is a small amber-green colored planet, mostly populated by halflings and umber hulks. It is covered in large canyons, and its equatorial regions are unlivable because of the Sun's proximity. The second planet, Collier, is a gray-white planet made of gas that is primarily populated with flying creatures. There are floating islands of Earth that are near the planet's core, and rumors have it that Elminster himself is said to own a resort on one of these islands. The third planet in the system is Toril. It is literally teeming with life. It's covered with water and earth, and the flora and fauna on Toril can be found on land, in the sea, under the sea, and underground. You can find anything and everything here. This planet was formerly known as Abir Toril. A side note here, Abir is Toril's twin planet. It exists near Toril's orbit, but it's located within a pocket dimension that's out of synchronicity with the rest of Realmspace. It has roughly the same characteristics of Toril. Toril has many objects that surround it. The largest natural satellite is Selûne. All cities of significant size on Selûne are on the dark side. That's the side that's always oppositely facing Toril. Although Taurelians have named this moon after their deity Selûne, the moon's own inhabitants named their home after Lyra. All activity on the side facing Toril is hidden by a powerful spell that's said to be bestowed on the inhabitants of Lyra by the goddess of their faith and devotion. Trailing the orbit of this satellite are the Tears of Selûne. There are many legends as to how the Tears of Selûne formed. The truth is that the Tears were the result of a magic-fueled weapon created by dragonkind to destroy King Killer's star. But when they fired it, the weapon missed and hit Selûne instead. Of the hundreds of Tears, most are not big enough to even have an atmosphere. A few do have air envelopes that can replenish and sustain life. We're going to take a look at a few notable ones. Dragon Rock, the most active of all of the Tears, and it's located near the edge of the formation. Its entire 15-kilometer surface is dedicated to trade. It's said that a single piece of silver allows you to trade in up to a ton of goods at one of the asteroid's hundreds of docks. Up next we have Eye of the Sky. This is a beholder base. It's 3 kilometers wide and contains hundreds of beholders and a layer of labyrinths and tunnels and caves beneath the surface. Up next we have Journey's Leg. This is a Niyogi stronghold. Its nearly 13-kilometer wide rock is well fortified and always further protected by at least 10 Neogi ships. The Rock of Brawl is roughly elliptical in shape. It's about a mile long and about a mile and a half thick in the other dimensions. Its gravity plane is such that it has a top and a bottom side. The city of Brawl is located on the top, and the bottom is government property owned by Prince Ardu and contains the hangars for his fleet. Up next is the castle. The castle is simply known as the castle. This object, as its name implies, is a marvelous castle. It's not known how it got there, and it looks to be currently uninhabited. The Citadel. All dwarves leaving Toral's atmosphere for the first time make this their first port of call. No other races are allowed to set foot here unless they're accompanied by dwarves. This is where new dwarven travelers are informed of the dangers of space travel. And last but not least, we have Stardock. This asteroid has been a base for a few different groups. It was occupied by mind flayers, liches. It is currently home to a Githyanki Kresh, along with their Red Dragon allies. The fourth planet in this system is an ocean world. The only solid surface are the two ice caps, although some have taken to living on the massive clumps of seaweed. The only spacefaring species to call Compria home is a race of aquatic elves. Up next is Chandos, the fifth world. This world is another water world. Its seas contain lumps of rock that sometimes pile up high enough to create unstable islands. Aside from the flora and fauna, there are no known cities or humanoid species living here. Up next is the fifth planet, Glyth. Glyth is the sixth planet. It is a harsh, ringed planet that has been occupied by the Elithan. Plant life is usually burned away by the atmosphere, and Glyth has 3 moons: Haven, Mingwabi, and Polluter. We recommend staying away from this planet entirely, but if you must go here, at least Mingwabi is the best option to land on undetected. Now on to the 7th planet in the system, Garden. The 7th planet, Garden, is actually not a planet. It's a series of Earth masses connected together by a massive plant. Non-sentient life forms create a balanced ecosystem within. There is many varieties of plant life growing here, but otherwise it's really just populated by pirates. It has 12 moons. They are Grandchild, Euthrid, Pison, Renante, Glorious, Fjord, Loshi, Dragonrot, Neural, Sunson, Templar, and Farworld. Most of these moons are interesting to explore, but they don't contain much life on them. The 2 exceptions are Templar and Farworld. Templar houses 100 mages that study Garden, and Farworld is a busy trading hub. Up next, we'll move on to the 8th planet, and last one, Hakatha. Hakatha is actually just a flat disk that's 480 kilometers thick with a single mountain in the center. Near the base of the mountain, 6 ports, each owned by a different type of beholder, accept spelljamming traffic from off-planet beholders and the arcane. Other species are only allowed to land if they have goods to trade, and if they leave as soon as they are done. Hakatha actually has 2 moons, Turnbelt and Lumbe. It's not recommended to visit Turnbelt because of its very reactive atmosphere. Lumbe is actually quite interesting. It's actually just a giant cylinder that was created by the wizard Sarlacc. It is said that he created this giant cylinder as a home base for when he was in the system trying to recapture his rogue ship known as the Bat Ship. So that takes care of all of the planets in the system. However, there is a bit more going on that many spelljammers would like to know about. There's a few comets or asteroids that are notable, and we'll start with Comet Kahud. This comet is noteworthy because it is to be avoided. The only known thing to exist on this comet is an undead haunt. Now, Caer Windlauer is interesting. Have you ever been told to be careful what you wish for? Caer Windlauer used to be located in the city of Trondheim on Toril. The castle's inverted occupant cast a wish spell, asking for total isolation and that he and his family would never be robbed or harmed. The next notable location is actually a pair of locations, and they are the Galleon Nebula and the Color Spray Nebula. These two nebulas orbit on opposite sides of the Sun. One is a nebula of wild magic, and the other nebula will heal you while draining magical items of their properties. It's best to avoid both of these. The last little astronomical body we'll look at is the Kingkiller Star. So the Kingkiller Star, it's the same one that the dragons were trying to destroy when they hit Selûne. Kingkiller Star is a reddish cometary body. It was once linked to the Dracon Age Mretha. Its periodic appearance in the skies of Aber Toril caused dragons to go mad with rage, destroying and killing without reason. And that concludes our look at the additional astronomical bodies. There's one more section of interesting things in Realmspace. The last section that we'll take a look at here in Realmspace are farm realm infested stars. At some point in the past, some entities from the farm realm invaded Realmspace, and they took a place among the stars. Although these beings look like stars, in truth, these beings are elder evils. We mention these entities because if you offer your service to one of them, you can be bestowed with great power in return. None of these so-called stars have a fixed place or orbit. They dance across Realmspace. Up first, we have Akamar. Now, Akamar is a dead star of utterly black, inky nothingness and typically eats anything that draws too close to it. We'll go to Capheon next. So now Capheon, also known as the Dream Whisperer. From afar, Capheon is seen as nearly a purple star. In reality, Capheon is a world of purple fire that pulsates as if it's alive, covered by a purple ambionic ocean. The next far realm infested star we'll take a look at is Delban. Now, Delban is a ice white star, also known as the Star of Ice and Hate. The next far realm star we'll take a look at is Gibbeth. Now we're going to be real quick with Gibbeth. It's described as a green star that at its core has an utterly unknowable being. Do not try. Up next, we'll take a look at Hadar. Now, Hadar isn't quite as bad as you've probably heard. Hadar has made all sorts of interesting spells that none of the other entities can even match. Hadar is also known as the Dark Hunger. Hadar is a cinder red star just barely visible in the night sky. Some do-gooders like to fly out there and give Hadar fuel to keep him from going out. You should try it sometime. Up next, we're going to go with Kinrad. Kinrad is also known as the Star Secrets. It's typical white-yellow star that shines brightest whenever there's an apocalypse of some sort that happens in Realmspace. Next, we have Nile. Now, Nile is sometimes called the Serpent Star. Nile is a red star, but actually it's a tear in the fabric of reality composed of an infinite swarming mass of maggots and worms. And last but not least, we're going to take a look at Zadun. Now, Zadun is actually known as the Corpse Star. It's just a dead star that just needs a little love and attention. And that is our look at Realmspace.